what we're gonna do now is go in a little bit darker with our paint. Using the detail brush, I'm gonna take our green and just kind of scrub around, start to indicate that there are leaves in these trees. So we're doing a kind of swirly scrubbing motion to add those leaves. Okay. When we get to this side, we're going to go a little bit bigger and be a bit more varied because we're going to paint over this with a darker green. Just paint like that. Now we're going to do some mixing. We're going to add ultramarine deep to our green. As you can see, it's become a lot darker. We're going to start adding this green over here to the right side. So the right side is really where all the dark trees are because it's covering the light. Alright, so we'll just paint it like that for now. Let's grab the yellow. Just add a little bit more in here and there. I'm going to clean this off. Now we're going to grab burnt sienna and we're going to mix it with ivory black. Same as last time. And then a dab of ultramarine deep. So that just changes the brown a little bit. Now we're going to try to get some of those shadows on the tree. If we look at our reference photo, the shadow is kind of on the left of each tree. There we go. Then we can grab our burnt sienna and paint it on the right side. Now we can see the tree has a little bit of depth. Now let's grab our darker wash. I'm going to paint all the left side of each of these branches. There we go. And then take burnt sienna, paint on the other side. Okay, we're going to grab burnt sienna, just add it in for those trunks down here. Go. And then for the ground, we'll use the same mix, burnt sienna, ivory black, and we'll add a bit more of ultramarine deep. So what we want to do is we want to just scrub it around. Get some variation. So I've alternated between the mix and burnt sienna. Do the same on this side. I want to get some of those shadows in. And then just straight up burnt sienna. Alright, we're just going to leave that like that. Over here. Let's paint these rocks that keep getting lost. It's too much water, so I'm going to pull it out a bit. As long as it starts to show that they are actually rocks. Okay, I'm going to grab Viridian Hue. And now we're also going to grab a little bit of Ultramarine Deep, and we want to just darken everything. So on this side, we're kind of mixing it on the paper rather than on the palette. Clear water. Back here, take our Ultramarine Deep, add it in, just makes everything a little bit darker. And now we'll take green, just adds variation to the water. Because water is transparent, water is not just one color. It's a reflection of all the colors in its surroundings. Go. And then once again we can lift it up while it's still wet. And we're adding green. Just trying to let it flow. If it gets stopped like this, what you can do is take clear water and just try to get it to flow a little bit more. Or you can try to help it along, paint in a downward motion. And then you can take clear water and kind of blend a little bit or pick up anything you don't want. I'm just using a damp brush to kind of scrub pick up any of the excess that I don't want. There we go. Scrub here. Alright, it's starting to look really nice. We're going to let this dry off and come in with a darker layer. We're going to start putting down the darkest darks. Start putting some details in. We're just going to use directly ivory black and add in some of those darks. This is obviously very watery and transparent, so we can probably go in a little bit darker, but let's just use up this paint here for now. So I'm going in on only the left side, that's where the shadow is. Here as well. Here. Okay. Now we can take our burnt sienna sprinkle it in here and there. The ground, same as over here. And down here. Alright, so we want to get it really dark, but obviously this is a bit too transparent. There's a bit too much water in it. So we're going to clean that out. Alright, so let's activate our black. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to paint some of the bottom of this riverbank. That's kind of where the bank meets the water. It's a little bit darker and muddy there. Same for over here. Then we're going to take burnt sienna. It's a lot thicker. Let's start over here. Paint a little bit here. Damp brush. Kind of blend it out. And let's go down here. Go. Let's take our ivory black. Once again, just try to give some definition to the trees. Not a lot, just a little bit here and there. So it's clear what is what. There we go. Then we're going to take our burnt sienna and we're going to add some branches. So if you look in our reference photo, you can see there's a lot of branches just coming out of nowhere. That's what we're doing here. Maybe add some right here, maybe some here. Just makes the background look a bit more full, like there's a lot more going on. Alright, there we go. Now, so we want to add in the darkest greens. So as you can see, it's a lot more saturated. Let's clean this up so we can use it to mix. I'm going to put our green here, and then grab blue. Mix the two together. You can see it gets really dark. Let's make a bit more. And we're going to add that just to the right side. You see how dark it is? Using very saturated paint. I'm just going to put all of this in shadow. Every once in a while you can make it a bit more watery, just to switch it up. So sometimes when I want things to be a bit more watery, and I still have a lot of paint on my brush, I just quickly dip it in the water. And as you can see, it gets it a lot more watery. So that way I don't have to clean off my brush and do everything again. Add some branches or some trees. Add some foliage down here. Also, sometimes when you're painting, it's hard to come up with the exact word you're looking for. Alright, there we go. We're not going to paint any more than that. We're going to leave this side nice and light. So the last thing we want to do is the water. Let's also clean this up. There we go. It's nice and dark. We're also going to mix it in with ultramarine deep. There we go. Let's just grab a little bit of ultramarine deep first. Clean off our brush, grab Viridian Hue, and now we just want to kind of mix it on the paper. There we go. Get it nice and dark. Add a little bit of the green. Just mixing everything on the paper. Okay, we're using clear water now. Probably gonna have to go back in later and get those rocks. Okay, so what we want to do is just put a not so thin layer over here. That was way too dark, so I added clear water and just swiping it out. There we go. Let's take the wide brush because we added too much water. And the wide brush is clean, so we use a clean brush to just do a swipe over, smooth it out. Also, we want to take out some of that excess. Now that the river is darker, some of the dark details are getting a little bit lost, so we're going to add them back in using just plain ivory black. Let's leave the background, we don't want to touch that. Our little rocks again. Damp brush, kind of blend that out a bit. There we go. Alright, everything looks great. So for the final touches, we're going to put in our opaque white. So I'm just grabbing it from the lid. And everything is still a little bit damp. It's okay. We're going to start in the tree here. Let's put a little bit of light on that tree. Same as this one. Maybe a little bit down here. We're going to add it into our river. Just a couple of lines and dots. Just to make everything shine. Here, some over here. There we go. Maybe a few in the trees in the back. It just adds a little bit of sparkle here and there. Sometimes you need to clean things out too. As you can see, this is getting a bit too large. Paint is moving. I'm taking a damp brush. Just going to pick it up. And then let's take burnt sienna, paint that back in. pretty black. Instead of waiting for it to dry, we'll just put the white in an area that we know is not as wet. Just like that. I notice a lot of sparkles in the back here. So let's add those in as well. There we go.